possible Lolita Express types of flights as a child. After I went public, Child Protective Services opened a substance-exposed newborn case, even though all tests came back negative, and they told me that if I wouldn't stop posting on social media, I would never see my daughter again. I started to connect how I was adopted as an infant and then sold throughout my childhood, how many other children who have been through the adoption, foster, and CPS pipelines have also been trafficked to Epstein's Elk.
And as many of you guys know already, based on the work that we do at the Karis Project, I'm an American Indian born in Canada under the Jay Treaty. My father and I were exposed in the improper contagion mitigation for the COVID pandemic in early 2020. As a result of this, I lost everything: a house, cars, corporate assets, jobs. Bank accounts were shut down in Canada, and I fled to the US as an American Indian, fully documented, and was trafficked by rogue agents in ICE and other agents in the government, and forced to live with single American men. I was even imprisoned for 7 months initially, and then trafficked throughout the states. Put on full surveillance tracking and wasn't allowed to leave the city, house, or state without permission, or work without permission. And that happened for many years, and I was on and off the streets because of that, and in and out of shelters. And that is just a small example of what many go through in this trafficking system, be it the family courts or otherwise. So that's why the Karis Project will be going to DC to speak with representatives and do live reporting. We're also going to be in contact with other families who are dealing with human trafficking, and through the CPS courts or through any other means, lesser versions of trafficking, and doing reporting on them live and otherwise. We will also be working on, we ultimately want to shine light on what's going on with the trafficking here in the US. And we also want to meet with various agencies in DC, and we'll be going back and forth for training sessions and other things so that we can be better equipped to help people deal with resolving some of the issues that we're seeing. We will also be putting forth petitions in government to help people get justice, and that's something that we have been working on already so far. We have some petitions that have recently been filed in the state of Colorado, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona, and we will be continuing.
But we can't do this on our own. We will be traveling to events and training courses, as well as DC on a consistent basis. We also have to get acceptable equipment, such as computers, cameras, interview gear, etc. There will be other miscellaneous costs that would also be like gas, food, and rooms if necessary.
So that is why we are working towards combating human trafficking, and that is exactly why we need your help. We cannot do this alone, and most what the Karis Project does is on its own dime. And so we do love and appreciate each and every one of you that support us and all the work that we do. As many of you know, we also live stream on Lindell TV every day. And everything we do, like I said, is on our own dime. So we appreciate all the love and support and all the people who do donate. And we would very much love and appreciate that still. Thank you everybody for your time and considerations. And thank you for all the support. And we will catch you guys in the next one, and hopefully we might see you guys in the future and come across you and maybe be able to do some great things together.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Karis Project podcast. We are back again with Sherry, who we haven't seen for a little while, and obviously my daughter, the host. We're going to be talking about, this whole issue of feminism, grooming. It's everything. It's just going off the rails today. People don't want to acknowledge it, and accountability seems to be the kryptonite of people in this situation. This is why we are where we are. So, you want to say hello to everybody since it's been a little while, Sherry?
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. As many of you know, I've been away dealing with some family emergencies, and finally back on track. And it's good to be back here and seeing who we can help today.
Yeah. So I mean, this I didn't even know what to say anymore. Like, I mean, there's just we're gonna pull up some clips and look at some of the stuff that people are saying, and a lot of it, it's out of control. Like, I mean, there's just this whole idea of the hating men, the hating women. I mean, a lot of it seems to be coming more. It's more socially acceptable for women to hate men than it is for men to hate women openly. Not saying that it doesn't
Mhm.
happen, but the consequences become far more severe if a
It's
man is
yeah,
doing it.
it's quite disgusting to actually sit and listen to conversations with women now, in regards to the men, because they're constantly bashing, and I'm the one who's like, okay, you tell me what you can do better than them. Just one thing. Just one. Just one. Me,
Yeah.
and I'm that person because you know what? Like I've said it 100 times. I'm like the biggest tomboy ever. I was the first football player to play quarterback on our high school team. The first female football player in high school in Grand Prairie. And you know what? That doesn't make me any more powerful than any of the other guys. I had a better arm. That's the only reason I got it. And you know what? The bottom line is they the guys that I was on the team with, they encouraged me. The parents hated it. The parents absolutely hated it because, oh, that's a girl, she shouldn't be doing that. Well, you know what? No, I should be allowed to still do it, but I'm not going to take away from the quarterback who's better than me. I'll encourage him to get out there and play because, but it's disgusting to watch these people sit there and they're constantly, oh, look at him, like, oh, he just thinks he's this and this and this, and so that's me going, okay, show me how you're better than him in any way, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, and personally. Physically is the best way. Please show me. And they can't answer it.
No, they can't. So let's look at this clip. I can't even. It's been a while, but it's gonna seem like it's new to me again. So let's look at this.
Y'all women are getting weird. Y'all really hate men. Now I'm starting to see why the bear versus man conversation was even a thing in the first place. Y'all think these men are these wild, chaotic beasts. They're not humans. They're not the other half of the human race. They don't have feelings and emotions. They don't have a heart. They don't care. They don't have a mind. They just this species that's infected with rabies and they waiting to jump and kill and destroy every single thing out there. I'm sorry y'all had some bad fathers, ran into some bad friends, had some bad boyfriends, whatever you encountered. That's not all men. Just like all women don't say stuff like this. Because I would never say that. Because I know there's some good men. This comment will never come out of my mouth. Not all men watch porn. So what do those men do who don't watch it? Are they out killing and doing that to all the women? No. Unfortunately, the narrative that's painted that men are these wild animals is not true. So please stop believing that. So if corn is banned, they'll be just fine.
So good. So good. It's so good.
Yes, and it's true though. You see a lot of this where they're talking about this, and then if a man says something like on social media, you just see the swarm come out. Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, he doesn't do this. He must not do this. Oh, you must have your daughter like chained away and beating like a slave or some kind of nonsense. I'm like, no, I teach her how to think. I teach her that there's consequences and that when you do things, I mean, something's going to happen. Like if you go up and punch somebody in the face, chances are they're going to punch you back. You shouldn't go up there and think that you can just provoke someone and expect nothing to happen. And what this is what a lot of people are beginning to. You see this happening all the time. They're disciplined to say that I can do this, but you can't do it back to me.
It's so
Well,
true.
that's what we raised in, unfortunately, because a lot of people, since school, someone will do something to you, you try to defend yourself, you can't do nothing about it. So then you just have to like sit there and take it. And then people think that they can just sit there and do things without any consequence and then just do whatever they want. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, this really, really bothers me because perhaps, just perhaps in another world, I could have punched some people in the face and I would have been okay. Because in today, like today, you go to jail. Like, I'm thinking to myself, if someone just grabs my hand and maybe if I don't want them to, and I punch them in the face, I'm going to jail. We live in that world where someone comes and they say something to you the wrong way, and you just have to sit there and be like, thanks, no, thank you, no. Instead of being like, yo, brother, my friend. And I think that's the world we should live in, honestly. I don't agree with violence. I don't like violence, but when you do something that encroaches on boundaries, when you do something that is aggressive to somebody, whether you're a female or a male, you should expect a consequence. You should, because this is allowing people to go far past the point of no return. Like, people are doing disgusting stuff now,
You
and
know,
it's delusion.
yes, there was a time where that was like, you know, if somebody hit you, punch them back, and it was acceptable. I remember
Yeah.
just after you were born, me and your mother were out, and some guy like grabbed her vagina, and I was sitting with her brother, and I put my drink down, and I walked over the guy, and like I said something. The moment he said something stupid, like I mean, I went over the table with him so quickly that my shoe flew off. Right. So, and people that knew that were there, I used to work at the bar down the street. So the guys at this bar, they knew what was going on. They stood there and let him take a licking because they all knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So then the police
Yeah.
came, and then he's trying to say all this stuff. Oh, this guy, he did this, this, and that. So the guy's like, okay, just wait in the car. It's like, okay. The guy brings him out. They're like, okay, well, you can either, if you really want to charge him, well, we're going to charge you with sexual assault, and we're going to let you hang out and cell with him by yourself. And he
Yeah.
was like, no, because he's like,
Yeah,
I would.
exactly.
He goes, if it was me, I would do worse to you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
so, okay, so just to touch on this, like, yeah, that's how we were raised, Dale, for sure. And we took care of things. We didn't let people, we didn't just let people take advantage of us or take advantage of other people. If we seen something from across the bar, whether it was somebody we knew or somebody we didn't know, we took care of it. We didn't just go a blind eye to it, right? So that part of me has never changed, and that will never change in me. And what I encourage people to do today is bring that back. Because even though the government has brought that forward to say, you can't defend yourself, you can't do this, and you have to do like Kaysha says and just go, it's okay, it's okay. Oh yeah, no problem. No, you don't actually have to do that. You really don't have to do that. And that's the thing that people need to start understanding, is they need to start standing up for themselves, because the more people that start standing up for themselves and take it to court and win their cases in court, because they can, because that's their personal body, and that's an invasion of their body. As soon as they start understanding that they can't get away with this stuff, then maybe the world will start going back to what it was when you and I were being raised and
Well,
going through our
Well,
exactly.
that's assuming the judicial system will do what they did when my dad beat that guy senseless, where they'd say, okay, well, how do you really want to go about this? Do you want consequence or more consequence? Whereas
But
today they're like, oh, pervert, let him go.
but
Oh, a person
but,
being harassed.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, sucks to suck. Let's
but
harass you some more.
people have to sit down and deal with it. Like I saw a guy. This was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, broad daylight. A guy's punching the daylights out of his girlfriend on the side of the road in the suburbs. I told my buddy, I'm like, stop the car. Stop the car. And I walked over. I'm like, what do you think you're doing? And he tried to sit down and say something. So I clocked him. I'm like, no, you're not going to beat a girl on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Police didn't do
That
anything.
happens all the time. Everywhere you go, you see that same
Yep.
thing, and good for you to stop and help, Dale, because most people just drive on by. Men
Yep.
and women, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yep.
I don't really care if there was a man beating a woman on the side of the road, even though I'm a woman and I'm a tiny person. I would do anything in my power to stop that from
Yeah.
happening. If I ended up getting a beating too, at least I'm doing it the right way, and I'm trying to save somebody from dying or whatever. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Everybody lives in this big world of fear that, oh, well, I just got to keep the blinders on like this and just go in front. And that's the biggest problem in the world. Like these women, all these girls that talk about all these men, they're probably the ones who are 99%. Oh, that might be, I'll just bring it down a percentage, 98% of the cause. They're literally probably 98% of the cause of the shit that goes on in the relationship. I'm sorry for the language, but you know what I mean? That's, big thing there. Because if it's not going their way, they got to cause problems. If they don't bend over backwards and literally um, allow them to be completely self-entitled and get their way and buy what they want and have the food that they want and eat the ice cream that they want, then they're constantly throwing fits. And I'm telling you, I work with a group of girls that I'm literally for the last 6 months have been trying to break from this. And now some of them are looking at it and they're going, wow, I can't believe I was actually that horrible of a person,
And
but the programming is so thick and so deep on so many
Yeah.
levels, and it starts at such a young age that it's such an implanted vessel in their brain that when it comes time for them to open their eyes and go, is that really me? And you go, yeah, that's really you.
this is why men are important, because women handle things very differently. Like with my
I
daughter,
agree.
I didn't reflect her chaos. I just calmly dealt with it, and she just got a consequence. Like, I mean, when I was putting her to bed in her own bed, I was like, we can play this game. She'd come out and she'd cry, and I would put her back to bed, and I would just do it. I wouldn't get angry. I said, you're gonna wear out, right? Like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you're gonna wear out. You want to find out? I'm gonna show you that this is gonna be consistently the way it is. And a man doesn't have to be going crazy. He just needs to demonstrate through his actions that he's not gonna deal with that. And then when the woman has the consequences to deal with, because he's not arguing with her with words and he shows the action, then what is she going to do? Because if the woman's arguing with yourself and you get up and you just leave, what is she going to do? Scream at the four walls? Right? Like, I mean, it, this is where we got to start thinking, because I grew up with 5 women. You're never going to win a war with words with a woman, especially when you're angry as a man, because her brain will shut off, but her mouth will keep going like it is working. Like, so, yeah.
100% until they start understanding themselves and take control and have that the confidence that's needed, rather than the any attention is better than no attention attitude.
Well, and a lot of it
Yeah,
is
that's crazy. Any attention is better than no attention.
well,
That's insane. I'll
this
take no attention any day. Stay
it's
away from me.
it's because of the way our society is structured, and they did it this way because it's easier to allow a woman who is like has a reprehensible character to go forward than a man who does that. Because if a man who does that, it becomes very easy to see it. As a woman, she is can play that the victim, or like, I'm the hurt one and everything else like that. Especially if she's attractive, then men will overlook these things, especially the weak men, because they're going to think, as the blood flow goes south, they're going to just put themselves in a position to just bend over and take it. Where a man who's got self control would be like, I'm sorry, but no amount of crazy is worth that, right? And
But
act correspond in accordingly. Go ahead.
yeah, but the thing is, as well, we live in a world where a lot of women, you can't do anything without people sometimes taking things the wrong way either, because there's a lot of men that I'll interact with from doing work, like work scenarios or whatever, and men will be like, oh, well, I just feel like, I'm just getting this vibe that, like, that you like me, or that this is a date or something. I'll straight up say, like, nah, man, I don't think like that. I don't think like that. If I'm in work mode, like, I'm just here, I'm getting the job done, I'm just doing like whatever I'm doing in the environment to help everyone is so that we can get the job done efficiently and effectively. But like a lot of people, they don't see that. Like, and I was talking to someone about this today where they asked me the difference between phileo love, agape, and eros. And I said, people can't tell the difference between eros, that romantic love, phileo, that friendly brotherly love, and agape, which is that selfless Christian God to us kind of love. And that's where a lot of problems are in society today, honestly. And women get really fed up and really pissed off because, you know, you're interacting on something on a normal basis, and someone's going to treat it or look at it a certain way, no matter how many times you tell them, nah, man, like, that's not how I think, man. Like, nah, I'm not like that for real. Like, just, my brain doesn't even go there. It doesn't matter because people will have something in their mind already. And I think that's where some women, the genuine ones, where they get pissed off and they're like, oh, I hate all men, because not only do you have that response, but then you also have the men that are also coming at you some way. And if you want to just clap them one time or whatever, you're going to be the one that catches the charge, because they're going to be like, hey, like, I just said this and or whatever. And then all of a sudden I got smacked down or whatever. It's like, come on, bro, you know exactly. So it's kind of like a two-pronged thing. Do I think that they should be right saying, oh, I hate all men and treating them that way? No, 100% not. But what I'm saying is that the circumstances are being created where
The
people are being put in constant,
our
like for that environment to like
it's
happen, if you know what
because
I'm saying.
it's because
Like, it's on purpose.
our society today is structured that the protective men get destroyed and that the predatory men have the most access to women.
Yes.
And that is what ends up happening. And so
Yeah.
women cannot analyze the visual spatial threat the way that men can. When it comes down to even
Right.
intelligence testing, women do better on verbal skill tasks and men do better on visual spatial. And this is not even a contest. Yes, it'll even out, but women are better at verbal, men are better at seeing. So men are better at paying attention to action because they have to see if by a small change in action, is somebody going to kill me or is he going to kill my family, and so forth. So they need that, right? Women need the verbal to instruct, to talk to the children, to raise them, to just sensible. So that's why they do that, and they allow that to happen so that the women who cannot see how men are pick up on men's actions anywhere near as quickly as a
Yeah.
man can,
Yeah.
and then they're at a disadvantage because they're more verbal where the man is more visual. They give
Yeah.
them access to that, and then the women who are in that manner will go ahead and destroy every man because they can't tell the difference.
That's true, because I literally, when I'm doing something, like, I'm not thinking about I'm not thinking about those action stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm trying to help in this way, or like I'm communicating with this person about this. I'm being very direct, I'm being clear. And then all of a sudden, people start saying this or doing that, and I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, bro. How did we get here? Where did the train fall off the tracks? Like, focus. Get with the program, because that's not it. You're not picking up what I'm putting down. There's nothing down, at matter of fact. Let's just go. You know what? You go that
No,
way, I go this way. Like, that's kind of where that's what it feels like a lot of the time, and it's very frustrating. And honestly, it's at the point where I think a lot of women should not go places by themselves. I really don't. I don't care who you are. If you don't have like a friend with you, or if you don't have like a man, like a brother, a father that can go with you places, this world is so evil and so corrupted. Men can try something on you. Women can try to set you up. My dad doesn't go to any events without his mother, because my grandma is going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, what are you doing? To the women, the weird people that come around, you need somebody to watch your six. And honestly, like, if I didn't have to be walking around America here by myself, I would not be going anywhere by myself, because it's it's such a slippery slope. It's too easy. It's too easy.
yeah, and I always say, like, if you want to know how a woman's going to be in a relationship, pay attention how she treats her father, and it's vice
Yes.
versa. If you want to know how a man is going to treat a woman, pay attention to how he treats his mother. It's very true. I've
Right.
actually sat back and I've watched this more and more and more. And the what I see so often is these women have zero confidence. They preach self-esteem, they preach the I'm all that garbage, and they push and push and push to put themselves up on this big pedestal. And granted that that's what they've been taught, but the bottom line is they have no self-esteem, they have no confidence, and if I walked up to them today and I said boo, they would probably fall over and cry. Right? Because
Yeah, honestly,
because when a strong person approaches somebody with these kind of traits and can dismantle them verbally with complete truth and honesty towards them for their self-being, it will literally put them into tears. And like I said, these women that I'm dealing with for the last 6 months, I have literally, not intentionally, but I've had every single one of them crying because they in such disbelief because of they thought that they're like this one lady, Kay, for instance, she's a business owner, she's a top CEO in her industry. Beautiful lady, but she's very powerful, but very entitled, right? And those traits come from, number one, being a CEO, but also what she brought with her is all the people, men, women, the men do this stuff, the women do this stuff. But she had it reversed. The men were doing the woman stuff and the women were doing the men stuff. So the women were in the warehouses and the men were in the office.
Oh,
so
why was that my job?
I pointed this out, and in 1 month, we restructured her company, and she had the hardest time ever restructuring because this is how it's ran for so long, but she couldn't understand why her she had a constant turnover of employees, constantly. She was trying what the government was pushing. The women can do the man jobs and the man can do the woman jobs. Okay, so not only that, it worked better for her in her mind because everybody listened like this, right? Every single one of them listened because she was in full control, because the men had no idea how to do whatever, filing or whatever. You know what I mean? The men had no idea how to do the woman stuff. The women, of course, were more eager to do the man stuff because they have a point to prove, right? So after the restructuring and we switched the positions, nobody left the company during this switch. We switched the positions and the men were doing the men stuff and the women were doing the women stuff. The whole entire company, literally, like within 1 month, their numbers come up. They couldn't believe the difference because the whole entire morale in the company was lifted. Even though, like, at the end of that month, everybody had their choice. Okay, you go back to do your thing, you go back to do your thing, or you're more than welcome to stay where you're at because this is really working now. But the thing is this lady, she had her head stuffed up to her butt so far. And I gladly tell this to her because she honestly thought that her way was the only way that it was possibly could work. That the women had to be the men and the men had to be the women. And she had to have these cushy little pillows everywhere for everybody to bounce off because somebody might have to have a hurt feeling report.
Right? We'll come back to that after this commercial break. But yes, it's true.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce the next generation of energy drinks, Rev 7. It has no sugar and no caffeine. Instead, Rev 7 uses Go BHB. Go BHB is one of the body's primary ketones, and it provides the most efficient and clean fuel that your body needs. It also helps you stay energized all day with no crashes. Not only that, it produces 3 times more brain energy than sugar, which helps boost your memory, focus, and mental sharpness. It also helps reduce stress and helps balance your mood. Rev 7 does all that while being the best tasting energy drink ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% today. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7. For a limited time, you get our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. I drink Rev 7 every day and I absolutely love it, and so will you.
So if you need any of the MyPillow products, go to MyPillow.com. /Karis or call 800-845-2942. Use the promo code Karis. If you're watching on Rumble, BitChute, or Facebook, you'll see the links in the description. There's a lot of ways to support. There's merchandise and all different affiliate stuff, or you can support using the Give, Send, Go, or the donor box that you'll see in the ticker here. Support a good cause, support the fight against human trafficking. All right, so yeah, we're kind of come back, and we're going to listen to a clip of them talking about women's sports, since we're on the subject of men and women doing the same, women doing men tasks and men doing women tasks, because it doesn't work. So we're going to listen to this.
What's one right or privilege that men have that you don't have?
They make more money in sports. I don't understand why.
Let me ask you a question. Can you name a WNBA team? Real quick, can you name a WNBA team? Can you name an NBA team?
There's a bunch of them.
Yep. Can you name an NBA team?
The Knicks.
Yep. Can you name an NBA team?
Chicago Bulls in there.
Okay, so
Lakers,
think about this,
shit
ladies.
like that.
So think about this. You can all name an NBA team, but you can't name a WNBA team. The reason why you can't name a WNBA team because the WNBA sucks. No one wants to watch women's sports. It's trash. Any type of women's sports, the market isn't as big because all of the greatest talents is in men's sports. You got guys in the NBA can dunk, doing windmill 360s. Before people even watch women's sports, they're watching men's college sports. Then they'll watch high school men's sports before they watch women's professional sports. Make sense? So that's why women get paid less, because they deserve less, because people don't want to watch them.
I feel like they don't.
Women, y'all don't even want to watch them. Y'all watch Bad Girls Clubs. Y'all watch Hollywood's Housewives. The thing is, it's not unfair because men is making it unfair. It'll do just as good as men's sports, but y'all don't watch that.
Okay, honestly, I'll tell you what does sell though. When women are actually doing women stuff, because those cooking shows hit, those are multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar shows. Those cooking shows, where they're baking and cooking, and it's like, there's the competition, Chopped, the Sugar Rush, that other baking one, Iron Chef, Master Chef, all of those. Some of those top ones are the men too, but still, they got the women making all the cute stuff, saying they have like their own restaurant and they've been doing this for however long, and they got little Johnny in the back with them, rolling stuff. That stuff always kills it. The fashion shows, the interior design, that stuff always. What is that? TLC? Is that what that commercial, that channel is?
Yeah, I think so.
I used to watch it with my granny all the time. Yeah, something like that. Like, it's true. When women try to do men's stuff, nobody wants to watch that. Honestly, all women's sports, they suck. I don't care what anyone says. I agree with that. They suck. You might be a good athlete individually, and I was an athlete, and I'm very good. Like, I didn't go into Olympics or whatever else, or I stopped. I didn't care to go into college sports. I could have, but didn't really care. But women's sports in general, we still don't do as good as men, and nobody wants to watch that because no one wants to watch women being aggressive on a field or on a basketball court. Nobody wants to watch women doing that. Women don't even, he's right, women don't even watch it. I won't even waste my time watching it. I won't. Because why do I want to watch that for? I want to watch her baking stuff. Why? Because I want to bake that for my future kids and family and for myself.
And
it's like he said though, right? Name one woman who can do a slam dunk. A 360 slam dunk. Just one. But yet they want to be paid as much as a man.
You can't.
Exactly.
They're not putting out.
Same thing with women's baseball. Name one woman who has the speed of a pitch or can hit the ball like a man. There's not one woman. There's not one out there. So why would they?
Exactly.
Why do they deserve to be paid like a man? They don't.
They don't. No, just because they enjoy doing it, they don't.
And this is where like the biggest recipients of DEI are women. They are, because you're coming into male spaces, and then you're forcing your way in, and then when you see what that woman did, her productivity went down, the morale went down because they're putting women, because they're like on this, we can do anything a man can do. No, you can't. The reason why they put women on those indoor office tasks, because women have a much higher attention to detail, especially with verbal stuff, than men do. So if they excel in this is why they use women for communication, because they're very good with words, right?
Yeah.
They use the men for the visual, spatial tasks and so forth, and the physical stuff because they excel at that. Why would you put them where they're going to be at a disadvantage? This is where society is doing. And then they're expecting everybody to be like, oh, this is going to be great. No, it's not, man. Right?
Yeah. And most of the time, the girls in the women's sports are literally just parading around half naked. Like track stars. Why are they wearing underwears, panties, and bras running? The men don't wear that. Like, why the females, the men outperform
look at the volleyball teams. Look at the volleyball teams and the women, and you see the difference, especially like the beach volleyball teams. They're wearing nothing, and the men are not dressed the same.
Do you know why they do that?
So that men will watch it.
Because sex sells.
Yeah, sex sells. That's why they do sex. That's what I said. Yeah,
that's why they do it. And women for so many years have had sex sells. Oh, if I just put less clothing, then they're going to look at me better. If I just put less clothing and more makeup, then I'll get more attention. But yet when it comes right down to the bottom line of things, they can't even fulfill what they think they can fulfill.
No, and when
they can.
When you place women in a position where they have to compete, especially with men, they start taking their clothes off.
Yep.
Yes.
Because they have no other way to compete. Because to sit down and outperform men at areas where men dominate, you're not going to do it. You might do better than some of the worst ones, but if you take the best women in performing a male-dominated task and put them up against best men, not even a contest. Yeah. Like for example, that male swimmer that called himself Leah Thomas or whatever. He's a terrible swimmer. He couldn't qualify. He sucked as a guy, but he went in there and destroyed all the women swimmers. They couldn't compete.
Right.
Right? And he's terrible. He's a failure as a man. Yeah. Right?
So what does that say? Right? And here another good example is, right? Car shows. Okay? Why don't we see men doing like bikini watches? No, we see the men standing beside their classic cars or their bikes or whatever, and we see the women doing a bikini wash or whatever. Why do they do that? Because they know they're going to draw more people in if they have those women in a bikini. They don't care about all the guys standing around the cars, but if somebody's driving by and they see a woman in a bikini washing cars bent over, guess what? They're there.
This is why when women prioritize what they see from men, they will make more often the wrong mistake because they are not good at they're not visual in the same way as men are, right?
No, exactly.
And when you see this, I'm watching this happening over and over again, and I watch women do this, and they go and approach men, and they have no idea. Men don't have any idea of how women think, but we pay attention to their behavior because we're wired to see stuff, and a lot of it's by trial and error. You're like, well, I'll do this. Let's see the response, and we keep seeing this, and then we can begin to project responses because we have to be able to do this so that we can know the tendencies of our family members to protect them while the woman is tending, especially if there's little ones, because she can't be looking after the other ones that are wayward when the little one, she got two little ones around her feet. Can't do that, right? So our society has inverted everything, and this is why there's so much dissatisfaction. So much.
I think that's why a lot of the women, though, they end up with that I hate all men mentality because they're going after men for what they see. So they're going after the men with the cars, with the money, the men that's buying them food or taking them out or whatever. And they think like, oh, this is the guy that I should go with because he has this stuff. And then they're treating them like trash, or they don't have like that character or whatever. And then they're like doing, like Sherry said, they're doing behaviors that's causing their own problems. Like, and they don't realize how terrible they are because they're literally like a materialistic, like, jerk who wants to use someone for something, and then when it slaps them back, then it's just like, oh, well, he did this and he done that. It's like, okay, but if you weren't a scumbag and you were actually looking for someone who had a character and was actually caring, and you had like, maybe trusting in your beliefs like God or your father or whatever to help you mitigate some of those things, you would never be in that position to begin with. So that's probably where some of them get in that situation as well. But yeah, it's definitely like
I just want to pull up this clip about a woman talking about women's intuition. And this is especially when he's talking about in male dominated areas. Women will say that their women's intuition will replace what a man does, and you'll see what he has to say here.
God gave women intuition for a reason. Men don't necessarily have intuition.
Did you say God gave women intuition?
Yes, and women do nothing but suppress it.
Women don't have any intuition.
What do you mean women don't have any intuition? Women have an inherent gut feeling about what's right and what's wrong.
In your Bible, it states that Adam was not deceived, but Eve was deceived. So that would indicate that the man's tuition is superior. If you just go out in any society around the entire planet Earth and you look at, well, who's dressing in a promiscuous way to attract sexual attention, it's always the female versus the male. Further, if you look at divorce rates, it's primarily females bring forth the divorce, so they don't have the tuition on which man is the right man. And historically, you're supposed to bring your suitor to your father because the father has the tuition or the wisdom.
Yo, he cooked her.
Right there.
He cooked her.
Right there, yeah.
Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. No, he killed it, because when he said that Eve went and done that, and Adam, the Bible says Adam was not deceived, he chose. That's true, because Eve's intuition told her, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to do this. And a lot of women in today's society in general, always, women's intuition, I would say more than 90-something% of the time is wrong, because women see outcomes. They don't see the steps to get there. So they'll say to themselves, oh, and I'll give you an example. This one woman was like, oh, my man's cheating on me. I know something's wrong. He's acting different. Must be cheating on me. She cheated on him because she made it a conclusion about an outcome of what pattern she thought she was seeing. Come to find out, when it come around, he was saving up money to get them both a house because he was adopting his other siblings. And she screwed herself so badly. She was bawling her eyes out. This girl was on TikTok. Women do not understand the actions of men. They think if one thing looks the same, it's gold. All things that glitter is gold. Whole time it could be pyrite. Okay? Women's intuition is not correct. It needs to be challenged by logic and reasoning. And this is why it's important to have a father or something that can guide you, or a man in your life that you trust, because you cannot go on feelings alone.
It's because they apply what they do between women to men, and it doesn't work. Right? Like,
yeah. Yes, that's exactly it.
I'm just going to bounce on this a little bit, because every single person has an intuition. Now, it all depends on their trauma or life upbringing, things like that they've been through. So it really, and the healing, how much healing they've done to be able to, like this lady that you were just talking about, I'm going to guess she had some sort of trauma prior to the relationship, or maybe another bad relationship prior to this one. But she literally caused it herself by playing it in her mind that he's cheating. So, well, he's cheating, I'm probably going to go cheat now because he's cheating anyway. So that's what I'm seeing. A lot of women are actually playing the victim, challenging themselves, and then they go to do what they say their partner's doing, hence the saying that comes from guilty always accuse. So then they turn around and they keep this cycle going over and over and over. And so many people that we've talked to, Dale, that we've came across this quite a few times.
Yes, and
it's just the fact that, just quickly, it's just the fact that the reason why women make these mistakes is because, like my dad said, the women are assuming that the actions of the men is because the same reason a woman would do it. A woman has no idea how to gauge why that man is doing what he's doing. So every single time, 100 out of 100 times she tries, she will always assume the wrong thing because she's not a man, and she will deceive herself into doing things that she thinks is the solution, and she'll end up screwing herself over. And this is where women need to accept the fact that they're different from men.
Yes,
We're just different.
Because they think that men are like women, but they're stupid. And that's, it's like if I treated a woman like a man, I'm going to think she's completely stupid. But I understand that she's not, because when I watch when women do things, when faced with the same things that men are, I'm like, it's completely different, because even interacting with each other, like men, when I watch women interact with each other, I'm like, men would kill each other for that. Like, you have no idea. Like, men just, that's why some men, we just sit there and we say nothing, because we're like, we're mind blown, because we're like, if two men did that, one would be lying on the ground in a pool of blood and the other one would be walking away. And
right. And yeah,
later,
I'll ask my dad.
And then later they would be in the bar having a drink or having a coffee.
Right,
Because that's how men operate.
exactly.
And it wouldn't be a whole, the rest of your life there's this grudge and this chaos over. No,
exactly. And you have to
get it done. They fix it one way or the other. They fix it and they move on. Don't ever do that again. You know?
Yes. Yeah, because you learn your lesson from the consequence the first time, from the fight broke out and then you drank at the bar. But I'll ask my dad sometimes, I'm like, I don't understand this. Do you think he hates me? Or do you think, have I done something or whatever? My dad's like, Kaysha, he's not a woman. I'm like, yeah, but this thing, he's like, Kaysha, men don't go based off of like little small things here and there. It's like the whole thing all together. I'm like, but what about this new piece of information? What if I just done something? He's like, Kaysha, he is not a woman. Stop it. That's not how that works. But for women, like, it's so hard not to just look at the situation and be, because women, as you get more information, new information, you're like, oh, this must be now, corrupted or something else, one thing about it's bad. Now the whole thing is bad. And my dad's like, nah, men don't think that way. Women really.
It's because you have to look at a little baby, and a small, tiny change can be something catastrophic. This is why, right? So women are in tune to that, but that you can't apply that thinking to the grown man in front of you. Like, you can't, because you're like, you might be able to pick that up when they're a baby and they're a boy, but you can't do it when they're a grown man. It's just really
adult,
right. And so understanding that you're different and that you don't think the same is the best thing that anybody can do for themselves, whether you're a man or a woman, because then you're not going to want to strangle them for every little small thing. And because society has indoctrinated women that they can do whatever they want without the consequences, this is the big issue, because they live in a world where I should be able to do whatever I want. And it's a theoretical world. In a theoretical world, you should be able to go and walk. I should walk down in where the Bloods are, wearing all blue, and not get killed, right? But that's really not the world we live in. So, and they set these girls up for failure, because they go out and they're like,
and they manipulate them so much and program them that when they get in a relationship or even a relationship, friendship, work relationship, anything, that if it's not their way and somebody thinks outside of their narrative or their thought, then it's a big chaotic scene. And they get into a relationship, and they don't get into the relationship for the same reason that we used to get into a relationship back in the day. Like, back in the day, you got into a relationship, you accepted the person 100% for who they were. And when you come into situations where there was any type of headbutting or chaos or anything like that, you talked about it. You worked it out. You fought about it. You talked about it. You worked it out.
You didn't go to social media.
There was no social media. Exactly. There's no social media to go on. Oh my God, he did this and this and this. What should I do? And then you have 500 people saying, you better leave him. Some people are going,
red flag.
Yeah, right. Instead of all of that chaos, if they would just go back to the old ways. But no, they live in this crazy little world where it's all chaos. And they go into the relationship, and right away they're like, what is he going to do now? What is he going to do now? And they're watching every little tiny move that this poor man is taking. So that when he does the slightest, stupidest, easiest thing that shouldn't even be an issue, they're like, wow, on
But
top of
then,
them.
but then what happened?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But then what happens
But
when
then,
those women raise sons?
well, yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then
terrible.
yeah, exactly, right? And then with the men, on the other hand, they get into the relationship and they're like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. She's fun. She's great. What can we do? They're not looking at all the emotional roller coaster that she's going to put them through. They don't even look at that. They see, okay, she's a little bit chaos, but I love her for it. They don't look at it as this woman who's looking at things going, how can I pick this man apart? How can I change him? That's the bottom line. How can I
Yeah,
change
that's what
him
women
to
think.
suit me?
She
And it
wants
Yeah,
shouldn't be
that's
that way.
weird. Yeah,
she wants to
the
raise a man
control.
like she raises a boy, and she can't do that.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's
And
sick.
Right.
It's
and
control.
what ends up happening is then it creates a big problem, and so forth. And then that whole idea that you being pushed in there is that liberty is license and that freedom is being to do whatever you want. Yes, you can do whatever you want, but there are consequences that go along with that. And the destructive nature of what ends up happening is they want to do what they want, but then they don't like the consequences. It's like, how are you going to deal with this? It's like you shouldn't get there in the first place. And if you do, then you need to kind of figure it out, because you can't just think about yourself, because your actions affect all those around you. And we have to
Mhm.
take those things into consideration. This is why you need to have the two different perspectives. And especially in today's society, a lot of women should not be by themselves with the amount of predatory men. Don't matter where you should be able to do that.
Yeah,
That's not the world we live in. We have a lot of criminals and a
no.
lot of predators, and women
Yeah.
should be clinging to good men for protection, because you can't pay someone to love you.
Yeah,
That's
even
right.
if even without the predators, the things that a man will do and say to me by myself is not the things they will do and say to me when my father is around.
That's right.
People have no idea when I'm out and about, I will defer to my father all the time. If I'm talking to someone, I'll defer to that person too, because I want to make it very, because men don't no doesn't exist in a lot of people's world, men and female. And like, if I don't sit there and like constantly they say something to me, oh, well, actually this guy, well, I'm talking to this person and this actually, oh, but this, no, actually, I really like this about this person. And we do, if you don't continuously reinforce, because I can't physically punch that person out. The only defense I can actually do is constant deferral to make it clear and drive it home. I'm about something else and you're about this, and I'm going this way, you're going that way. Because if anything, there's no confusion that way, because then I'm constantly communicating. But that's the world we live in today, where it's like, if you don't have an immediate protection of some sort, men see consequences, men understand violence. Women don't need to go there to do things. They just kind of like, you make a woman feel bad by saying you done something, and then they're like, oh, my bad, they might stab you again, but
Y-
but with
y-
men, it's like, if you don't reinforce that there's another man around you that might knock them out, then they don't care.
Yes, we're run up on time here, so I'm gonna just close here with a prayer here, and then say final thoughts. But I just wanted to just sit down and say this one thing. When it comes down to setting boundaries for society, men are the ones responsible for this, because they have to deal with the other men. The women will never do this, and men are required for enforcement, whether you want to believe it or not. All spaces that women are safely in are a result of men. So let the men do the work that they need to do, and do the work that you're good at, and our society will be a much better place. And understand that doing what you want comes along with consequences. If you don't want that outcome, then you need to change your course of action. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but understand, if it blows up in your face because you did something like played a stupid game, you're going to win a stupid prize. So I'll close here with a prayer. All right. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us today. And Lord, help the men and the women to come together, to get back to common sense, to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, and our nation, that the children can be protected from this dumpster fire that we're in. Is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Steph, for prayer as always. And thanks, Sherry, for coming on. One of my favorite series is having Sherry come on. We always have a good laugh, as you guys can see. Everyone says I have the deadpan face. You all see me laugh when Sherry comes on here because she's just too funny. Can't help myself. But yeah, guys, we need to let men be men. Men are the protectors. They're providers. We need to let them start protecting, because the only one that enforces all the safety measures and the protection in our society is men. People trying to get men to accept feminism. Why? Because to every level of society, everyone understands that men are the enforcers, and we need to let them do that so that we can live as peacefully and prosperity as possible. So anyways, thanks guys for your time and considerations. We'll check you in the next one. Men stay men, women stay women, and we'll see you again. And to my dearest Karis, until we meet again, my friend, and we will. Ciao.